Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing an art journal process video entitled Abstract Circles. Let's get started. So first I'm taking some white acrylic gesso and applying it with a palette knife to my page. Now I'm taking an old encyclopedia and ripping a few pages out to collage into my page. Now I'm taking these pages and ripping them into rough strips. Now I'm taking these strips and collaging them onto my layout using some homemade gel medium. It's a good idea when you're collaging these strips to collage them into different directions, so having some of the text go upside down, diagonal, right side up, and etc. So I've given the page a good dry, and now I'm taking two different shades of blue and applying them to my page. I'm only applying the paint to one side so I can squish the pages together to get an even distribution of paint. Now I'm just spraying the pages with a little bit of water to make the paint easier to spread. I'm starting by blending out one color at a time before blending the two colors together. Here I'm taking a baby wipe to further help blend the colors. The baby wipe also helps to bring the text forward in the page. Here I decided to take a stencil and then a white gelato to help make some circles on the page. I was quickly finding out that this technique wasn't really working the way I thought it would. You'll see here in a second that I decided to just scrap this process. I tried again, but it just wasn't giving me the result that I wanted. So I ended up just deciding to do some freehand circles. I then took my finger and then just blended out these rough circles. Here I'm taking a light color blue gelato and just going over the bottom section of the page where the light blue is. And I'm just blending that out with a foam blending stick. I'm going to do the same process except with the darker blue for the top section. I find that this helps give a nice frame for the layout. Now I'm taking one of my homemade foam stamps and some white acrylic paint, and I'm just going to stamp this 2 times on my layout. And I'm not worried about getting a perfect impression when I'm doing these stamps because I want it to be kind of rough, so don't worry about getting it too perfect. You don't need too much paint for this step. Now with whatever paint's left, I'm using a small dot stencil that I made and just stamping it wherever there's extra space on my page. Now wherever there's wet paint where I stamped the circles, I'm just taking my finger and kind of smearing that around. Here I added some water to that paint left on my palette, and I'm adding some splatters to the page with a fan brush. Now I'm taking some black archival ink, 2 circle stamps, and 1 bubble wrap stamp. I actually switched out the black ink for a gray ink for a softer look. And I'm just taking these stamps and roughly stamping them in random areas over the page. I'm not worried about these being neat or coming out perfectly. I want them to be kind of rough and patchy. I like the grungy look. And I'm going to be doing the same thing with the 2 circular stamps, just going randomly and trying to fill in the empty gaps. And that's it for stamping. Now I'm taking my big brush marker in gray and outlining the circles that I stamped earlier. I'm also adding some lines here and there. Now I'm taking the marker and going into the corners just to darken them up a little bit. It helps make the page look a little more worn, in my opinion. Now I'm taking a jumbo chalk marker and going in on all the circles and adding a little bit of a highlight. It's a little hard to see here, but it definitely helps to brighten them up. Now I'm taking a black gel pen and just doodling here and there on the page. I'm drawing some smaller circles inside of the white circles. And then I'm outlining the medium-sized circles that I stamped earlier. And I'm just doing this roughly so it has a sketchy kind of look. I tried using a white paint pen to add some highlights to the medium-sized circles, but it wasn't working, so I ended up using a blue paint pen, and it kind of worked. Now I'm going back in with my black gel pen and I'm doing some journaling, just here and there in random places. A little tip, if your gel pen stops working on you, you can use the tip of your finger and just make a few marks and it should start right back up for you. Now I'm taking one of my homemade spray inks and I'm adding some splatters to the background. If they're a little too heavy, you can always take a baby wipe or a paper towel and dab off some of the ink while it's still wet. I'm going to go in with a little bit more of my ink and add a few more splashes, and I think that's it for this page. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed making this for you. Hit that like button and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.